looking forward to that. 120 Republicans are now raising concerns over the Biden administration's war on affordable gas-powered cars and trucks, this coming in direct conflict with President Biden's electric vehicle mandate.
Yeah, now members of Congress are pushing back against strike fuel economy regulations, stating they, quote, ignore the reality that most Americans still prefer the internal combustion engine vehicle. It's a regular car. Electric vehicles are not a practical option for most Americans.
All right, for more on this, we want to welcome in Michigan Congressman Tim Walberg. Congressman, great to have you on. Good morning. Welcome in. So you've led the effort to put an end to this whole thing, and I think it's important to point out that you aren't totally against electric vehicles. It's more just that the technology is not there right now. People don't want a car that dies after 200 miles. They don't want a car that won't run if it's below freezing. They definitely don't want a car that suddenly bursts into flames if the battery has a defection of any kind. Take us through what's going on here.
That's so true. And Sean Fain announcing his support, UAW support for Biden, won't necessarily get his rank and file. These are guys that are in my district and gals that are building great cars. They will build any car that the American public wants. But right now, the American public does not really want EV. Why? It doesn't meet their needs. And we're seeing that now in the cold weather situations that are starting to illustrate some of the major problems. But the big thing that we're talking about, the 120, now 121 colleagues and myself that have signed a letter calling for NHTSA to back off on its proposed CAFE standards that would go in concert with the EPA's proposal that went out a few weeks ago that would basically mandate EVs be on the road. Over 2/3 of the vehicles to be sold and put on the roads would have to be EV because of tailpipe emissions. What we are virtually doing here, well, more than virtually, what we're doing is mandating that people buy EVs. The American government isn't supposed to be doing that. In fact, our law says that when the NHTSA goes for CAFE standards, they cannot factor in EV because it's so different compared to a liquid-fueled vehicle. So this is just wrong, and it's government intervention that is mandating something that people don't want.
And you've mentioned that this mandate would cede auto leadership to China. It also makes U.S. more dependent with China as lead producer in two key parts of EV batteries. So how concerning is this for you?
It's very concerning. We saw during COVID our reliance upon China for all sorts of things, including masks.
Yeah, and the virus itself. Yeah. Right?
And the virus itself, of course. They gave it to us. But that was problematic in a great way to us. So now China has the most EVs on the road of any country, developed country in the world. And yet they are providing energy to power up those EVs with coal-fired energy plants. Now, what sense does that make for us to put ourselves in a similar situation? Let's use the free market approach. As a environmentalist myself, I love the environment. I love our resources, but I'm a steward of that. We ought to use that appropriately. But in this case, what we're doing is mandating something that won't work, and in fact, may end up hurting our environment more than helping it. Innovation is the way to move forward. I was talking with an auto dealer yesterday. It was interesting. He had, as he called it, I took the hit in order to show that our dealership was selling the EVs as we're expected to do, and I took one myself. And when I was going to the Lions game, I looked and I saw, he said I saw I had 160 miles left on the battery. And it was only 25 miles to the stadium, so he said, fine. He took off. Because of the cold weather, the traffic jams, when he got close to the stadium, he realized he only had 60 miles left. And the concern was, when I get out of the stadium after the Lions win, go Lions, I made it be a real problem to get home. So he missed most of the first quarter of the game in order to get to a station where he could get a charge and wait in line, and finally got it, got to the stadium, made it home. But the next day when he was going to charge it to get to the dealership, the line was so long he had to call an employee from the dealership to come, bring an ice-powered vehicle to pick him up.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a great way to live.
Leave the employee to charge up his vehicle.
Now, Congressman, and again, this is It's not that. I think there is this narrative out there propagated by Democrats that conservatives, that Republicans like yourself in Congress are against electric vehicles. That's not it. But the technology's not there yet. So don't force this on the American people when the technology is just not there. I want to cover two topics in about 30 seconds. The first one, do you think that the UAW endorsement does anything for Biden in your home state of Michigan, which is a huge battleground state? And right now, according to the polls, at least, it looks like it's swinging back toward Donald Trump if he's the nominee.
Absolutely. UAW endorsement is a big endorsement. It'll have some impact. But I know for a fact that many of the UAW membership, including many union membership, have seen Trump as a guy who understands them, who speaks their language. And they voted for him last time. They voted for him the time before, and they will vote for him again. They'll be proud UAW members in relative to the auto industry, but they're not going to let Sean Fain tell them to vote for someone that they don't believe in.
I don't get it. I don't get the endorsement, by the way. I get that they traditionally endorse Democrats, but Joe Biden gave the auto workers of Michigan a middle finger with this entire electric vehicle mission that they've been on for the last 3 years. Final point, I can confirm 49 of the 50 U.S. states are all for the Lions this Sunday against the 49ers. I believe it's only the state of California that wants to see the 49ers advance to the Super Bowl. So good luck to you.
We're going to win the game, and just like our Michigan national champions, Lions are going all the way.
That's right. All right, Congressman Tim Walberg, thank you.